I was putting things in the space saver bags, like clothes and stuff that I just may wear someday. And then I was putting them underneath my bed. And then I was like, well, I really need this shelving unit so that I can store all of these clothes that I never wear. And I bought this big shelving unit in the laundry room, and I'm putting it up, and I just start laughing. And I'm like, why? I'm probably never going to wear these clothes.
Welcome to the I Cut the Mustard show, where you'll learn how to stop stressing, stop stress eating, and start fitting into those skinny jeans. Because whether it's belly fat or bloating, stress stinks. But don't worry, you've got what it takes. You're sharp enough. You cut the mustard. Hey, today it's Make a Mess Michele, and I'm here on episode number 27 with my friend Ashley, and she's going to tell us how she actually lost weight during this COVID-19 crisis. When people are getting more stressed out and gaining weight, she is de-stressing and losing weight. She's going to teach us how she did it. Let's hear the interview. Today, I've got Ashley with me. We work together at the YMCA teaching cycle class. And a couple weeks ago, I posted a video on Facebook about stress and weight gain. And Ashley responded with such enthusiasm and said that she actually lost weight during quarantine. So I asked her on the call so that she could share her story and let us know how she did it. So how are you doing today, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So you're a fitness instructor and you're a personal trainer too, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So what got you interested in doing fitness in the first place? Tell us a little bit about you before we hear your current story.
Well, I don't really have any sort of a fitnessy background. Didn't play sports growing up. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 5 years old. So I spent most of my childhood I'm not really inactive because I've always loved the outdoors, but not as active as I guess most kids were. In high school, I wasn't allowed to take gym at all. So I just dressed out and walked only. After I had my son, though, it was probably at my heaviest. And I got to the point where he'd want to go play with me and I couldn't. I could just sit there and watch him. So I was just really tired of sitting on the sidelines and watching him play. So a friend of mine who actually lived across the street at the time, she started working at the Y. I thought, I'll just join. I'll just be a member there. They started there and I tried everything. I was kind of stuck to the elliptical forever. Was the first thing I tried. So this is it. This is my jam.
Mm-hmm.
And another instructor came up to me and said, is this what you're going to do for the rest of your life? You come in here every day consistently, which is awesome, but this is all you do is this elliptical. And I mean, she was a very outspoken instructor, which I absolutely loved her. And she's not with us anymore at the Y, but she definitely kind of forced me out of my comfort zone. Some people may have scared them away, but she just said, just try all the classes. Mm-hmm. Just try them all and see what you like. Try taking weights, weight class and doing strength training. And the cycling never intimidated me like it does some people, only because I rode bikes when I was a kid. I don't know why that didn't intimidate me. But I tried it and I loved it. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. I love the dark room. when you're starting out with your weight loss journey, a dark room is so nice. Because you don't feel like you're on display. And there was no clicks either, which there are some forms of exercise classes that do kind of feel like you have to inch your way in there before you feel comfortable in the group. Not really any fault of theirs necessarily. It's just kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
But the cycle world's not. The people are not really intimidating. They're very welcoming. So I fell in love with it. And even through my ups and downs with my health and weight, it's always been consistently there. So being an instructor has helped to keep me even after I had gained 70 pounds from steroids, if I didn't have that to keep me in line, I guess,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would have ever stuck with anything.
Yeah, that's really an amazing journey. So you mentioned in grade school and high school that you weren't able to do gym class. Is that right?
No,
So yeah,
actually
tell
the
us more.
doctors when I was young, or the doctors when I was in high school had said that you shouldn't move. And to some degree, I would say now it's still about 50-50 with doctors and like people with rheumatoid arthritis. Some of them are like encourages you to do as much as you can. Other doctors encourage you that if you hurt, basically don't move. The problem is you always hurt. So if you don't move, then for me, if I don't move at all, it's worse.
Yeah.
And then it's the other health issues that come along with being sedentary. So the doctor actually called the school and said that I could not take gym. So I could dress out and I could walk, but that was it. That was the extent of my gym experience.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. And so given that background, I was just wondering, yeah, growing up thinking you're not supposed to move, don't do anything. What was the shift that made you think that it was okay to like go to the YMCA and do stuff?
Rebellion? No.
Yeah, that works.
So to some degree, I realize that as much as doctors, I respect doctors and I respect the schooling and the time and the effort that they put into learning the things that they learn, I also know my body, and I know that only I know how far I can push myself. I was a stay-at-home mom. I moved to this area without knowing anybody except for my husband. So it was just difficult not having that, not having any friends. So
Yeah.
to some degree, I just wanted some friends too. So I wanted to get active. I wanted some friends. So that's kind of what got me into it. And when I was growing up, I was told I would never have a kid. You have RA. You probably won't ever be able to carry a kid. Your bones won't be strong enough. So I did have a kid. And I had an awesome pregnancy. I didn't have any problems. I did have to have a C-section. But as far as actual problems are concerned with the pregnancy, I didn't really have any issues. So
Yeah.
that was kind of like a spark too. I'm like, well, I'm already doing things that I was told I wasn't going to be able to do in the first place. So why not just try?
Yeah, cool. I really like that. Yeah. So you joked about rebellion, but but yeah, just like, well, maybe that's not right. I mean, I love that. I love questioning what's happening because that's
Yeah.
the way that we grow. Like maybe I can do that. Maybe I can move forward. So that's really great. I'm glad. I'm glad that you did that. So I also love cycle for those same reasons. Like I didn't think I was intimidated by it a little bit actually because I had never really done it before, but yeah, the music and everybody's just sitting there on their bikes and I just feel like it's so fun. I think it's
Yeah.
a great place to start. So so let's talk about quarantine too. So this is the time when most of us are stuck at home. A lot of people are super stressed out about what's going on and we're bored, we don't have to work as much, whatever's going on. So I've heard a lot of people that are thinking that they're not going to be able to fit in their jeans by the end, but in a bad way. Like
Right.
I'm just eating, I'm so stressed and I'm gaining weight, or maybe I'm not doing as many things as I used to do. But you said you were the opposite. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about what happened with you.
So I planned ahead, I guess. I mean, I definitely love researching things, and I definitely love, as much as I don't like to watch the news per se, because it can be a little bit depressing, I do like to stay current in what's going on. So with being, I guess, high risk with having autoimmune diseases and stuff, I already knew that I was probably going to have to be quarantined myself. If not,
Mhm.
I didn't know it was going to be as a large scale as it was. So I just kind of prepared. I went out and bought some puzzles from the Dollar Tree. And if you don't know that Dollar Tree has awesome puzzles for $1, just FYI. So
that is a good tip. Put that in there.
And then I was so busy before, and I was already stressing about how and what I was going to do to slow down in the first place, with my son going to school 45 minutes away. It was 3 hours on the road every day to and from school. We own a company, so also doing things for our IT company, and also working at the Y, and trying to find my own workouts. And because I don't consider my workouts, my classes that I teach, my workouts, because you can't, I can't go that full force and talk and do everything that I need to do at the same time. So I had a bike at home already, a spin bike at home. I had TRX at home. I just didn't freak out because I knew that it wasn't the end of the world. I've already spent most of my life having to stay home sometimes for weeks at a time because I couldn't move, which I guess was probably helpful.
Yeah.
And knowing that it's not the end of the world. And I like the outdoors. It's like the outdoors wasn't closed. I mean, I know some people, they thought it was, but I didn't feel like the outdoors were closed. I was still going on walks. I was still hanging out in my backyard and getting some sun. I don't know. I guess I just didn't freak out about it.
Yeah. So you just had a good perspective on it in general. Yeah, you kept saying it's not the end of the world. So I think that's a good thought, just a good perspective that no matter what's happening in our lives, it's still going to move on. There's still a way to make it work. And yeah, you found the way to make it work because the outdoors is open. So I like that.
And food wise, nothing should have changed. So, and I've talked to a few people about that too. As far as my eating is concerned, it's really being stuck in a house versus not being stuck in a house wasn't any different for me eating. But I don't snack and stuff. So I guess if I were a really snacky person and like to just munch on stuff all the time, that would have probably sucked to be surrounded by food. But I like to stay busy. So even at home, I know my son jokes that that's all I do is clean. So I'm moving or I'm sleeping. Those are my only two options. And I just moved. So
yeah, that's really cool. So you're not really a snacker, so that wasn't your problem. But you said that your diet didn't change at all, and you're constantly moving. So you're getting enough exercise, but not moving any less. I guess not moving any more. Would you say you were moving more than you were before quarantine?
no, it's just, I think it was I don't have any responsibilities. That, it just, all my responsibilities were gone. So that was just a big, like, fresh of breath air. The fact that I didn't have the pressure of my everyday world looming over me. And I stopped worrying about my weight, which I was really worried about before. Because as a fitness instructor, the last thing you want to do is gain weight, because it makes you feel bad, or it makes me feel bad. So even though I was on steroids and I didn't really have much of a choice, it's still the last thing you want to do is walk into a room. And there were weeks that I had gained 10 pounds in a week. So you feel bloated, you feel huge, and you're going in and teaching a cycle class crouched over, and it just was comfortable. So I didn't have to worry about any of that. I didn't have to worry about being self-conscious. I didn't have to worry about going to classes or teaching classes. Right now, I needed some time for myself. And I was like, I'm not going to weigh myself. I don't care about how much I weigh right now. I'm just going to get through this with my husband and my son and our 2 doggies. And that's all I'm going to worry about until I put my pants on and they fell off. And I was like, what? So then I did weigh myself, and I'd weighed myself twice on quarantine, and that's when I found I had lost weight. I was like, oh man, I didn't even try. It was kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, the reason that we were talking in the first place again was just because I had said that stress is the answer, and there's a reason. Like
Yeah.
stress might be why you're not losing weight, even though you're doing all the right things, and you were doing
Yep.
all the right things. You were, keeping track of your diet, you were exercising regularly, you were trying to keep balanced, but um yeah, just for other reasons, maybe medication or for whatever reasons you gained weight. But then I just thought it was so cool that you were like, yeah, I lost 15 pounds. And you're right, it was stress. So kind of
Yes.
what you're explaining about, yeah, just slowing down and you stopped worrying about your weight. That's so crazy. And I don't know if I mentioned in that video, but some of my weight loss clients, there's always like a weight that they have in their lives, a big
Yeah.
weight. Yeah. And whenever it lets go, then like things start to shift for them. So
Yeah.
that's always really fun in a weird way to see for other people. So yeah, so you mentioned not worrying about your weight and taking some things off of your plate and
Yep.
just trying to enjoy the quarantine. But yeah, do you feel like anything else changed for you that helped that weight just kind of disappear for you?
Well, and I say that my diet didn't change, but interesting enough, and it took, I guess, the quarantine to figure this out. I didn't want to have, I love chocolate and I love salt. I'll back up on the salt one here in a second. So I didn't want any of that stuff in my house before. And then if I did get it, I did tend to binge. So before, like no bake cookies, I love no bake cookies. And it
Mm-hmm.
was always a joke that if I was going to go get some no bake cookies, I was going to eat the whole container.
Yeah.
I was going to make no bake cookies. I was going to eat them all because I didn't want them in the house. So I'm going to make them. I'm going to eat them all
That's
right now.
right.
Don't have them around. But we made no bake cookies. And guess what? I only had a no bake cookie with dinner or something here and there. I didn't eat a whole pan of no bake cookies. It wasn't a problem. And sometimes I think we create a problem that's not there. We're worried about something that we shouldn't even worry about, which just adds to more stress. I don't know, it's kind of nice to know that I could have quote unquote junk food around and not have to eat all of it, because I do live with two guys. I mean, they like their junk food. So
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried. Before I was on the go so much that I wasn't at home, that I wasn't really around all the junk food. And then I was. So
Yeah.
it was kind of nice. It was nice to know that I could like, what do you say that? Just have a few things and not go overboard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really awesome. That's so empowering that you
It
made,
is.
yeah, you made that shift. It feels great.
It
I
does.
actually made I made that shift recently too, actually, because I've always been, I remember writing a blog post once that I'm not a one cookie girl. Like I can't have it or I'll eat it. But yeah, so I've similarly been like realized that it wasn't doing me any favors, I guess. And now even like at my mealtime, like I would always overeat at meal times. Like it was just not enough and I'd want more. I'd always want seconds. But now I make
Yep.
it halfway through my bowl and I'm like, oh, I'm done. So,
That's
but it
exactly.
feels so great. It feels so great. Yeah.
And I just would tell myself now, just eat what's the little bit on your plate and walk away. And in a half an hour, if you're like absolutely starving and you just need more food, it's okay to, you know, get some more food. But 90% of the time, I would never go back for more food. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Not actually hungry and just kind of
no,
letting
yeah.
yourself
Sometimes the food just
be
tastes good and
okay.
you want more of it.
Yeah, right. That's a trick we all work on, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, whenever I was talking to you a little bit before on, when we were talking after you had said you lost 15 pounds, you also mentioned decluttering and how decluttering your house was really helpful for you.
Yep.
And you're also doing just a bunch of other, well, yeah, then as we were talking, you just came up you just kept pulling out all these stress-free
Yeah.
techniques that you already have in place. So yeah, tell us about the decluttering a little bit more for you.
I had so much clothes, and I only wear, I don't know, like very few of the clothes that I have. So one of the big shifts that I made is I went into my closet and I got rid of everything that doesn't fit, because as a girl, and I definitely will speak for girls, so I know we do this,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to have like wardrobes that are like 3 or 4 sizes.
Yeah.
So, a size bigger, just in case, size smaller, just in case. I stopped doing that. I only have clothes that fit me right now. I only have clothes that are comfortable and that I feel good in, that I feel like I look good in. So if I put something on and I'm tugging at it, or if I put it on and it's going to end up being ripped off real quick because I'm like, nope, not gonna wear this.
Yeah.
Why is it in my closet? So
Yeah.
physical clutter leads to mental clutter, and when you take that clutter away and the lack of having to do all that laundry, because 90% of the time that clothes that you ripped off that didn't feel very comfortable ended up on the floor, and then you're like, well, now it's dirty, so now you're gonna have to wash it. And
It's a cycle.
that was really freeing to know. Like, so now I look in my closet and I have one drawer that has like 3 pair of pants in it, and my closet has very little clothes in it. And some people might freak out, and I'm kind of like, oh man, it's so nice. I mean, I
Yeah.
could take all of my clothes on vacation with me. Every bit of clothes that I have in my in my house right now that belong to me, I feel like I could fit it in like a small suitcase and just leave. And
That's kind of nice though. Yeah,
it
that's true
is.
though. It is freeing. Like you don't have
Yeah.
all that baggage to carry around. And I've heard that several times that whenever people declutter their house, they lose weight because
Yeah.
you're not carrying around that weight we were talking about. You don't have that baggage. And I liked what your criteria was too, that you're just like, am I gonna rip this off in 2 seconds? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say have you read that Marie Kondo book
I
too?
And it's kind of funny because when that came out, I don't know how many of my friends called me and they're like, oh my goodness. And so I thought about you as soon as that show came on Netflix and everything. And I was doing a lot of organization before like her Netflix stuff came out, but I wasn't doing a lot of decluttering. So and I followed the 2 minimalist guys. I can
Mm-hmm.
never think of their name because I can never think of anybody's name. Um, so they sparked a lot. It just the whole experiment of wearing the same outfit every day for like 3 months and no one said anything. And the guy was like, well, maybe no one cares.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
have like 18 million pairs of clothes. And people don't. It's usually subconscious. It's usually us that care.
That's a funny story. I kind of want to try that. No, it just gets sweaty though. Did he have
Yeah.
2 different ones?
No, I don't. Maybe he had 3 outfits, but they were the same exact outfit, like
Yeah.
black blue jeans or something. I don't know. I have to go back.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and they're white. I mean, I wear black a lot, but I have a lot of like, scarves and bandanas and things like that I can accessorize it with. So I guess I do have a little bit more like scarves, I'd say, than most people do, but I only have maybe 10
Yeah.
scarves. So that
You
it can
probably
completely
have just as many scarves as everybody else. So it just
maybe,
feels like
yeah.
it.
Possible. But I
'Cause
could
you don't
still
have
fit everything in my suitcase.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Is that your criteria? No. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
It really it
is it
is.
really? That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else was your process? So if anybody listening to call is like, man, yeah, I want to get going on decluttering and see if that would help. Like, what would you suggest? What was kind of your mental thought pattern, or what was the
The
process that you used to kind of get
the
rid of
very
stuff?
it was kind of a few processes. So the first stage, I guess, was just cleaning, surface cleaning. And I wasn't really considering throwing anything out at that point. But then I realized that I was stuffing stuff in places. Like I was putting things in the space saver bags, like clothes and stuff that I just may wear someday. And then I was putting them underneath my bed. And then I was like, well, I really need this shelving unit so that I can store all of these clothes that I never wear. And I bought this big shelving unit in the laundry room, and I'm putting it up, and I just start laughing. And I'm like, why? I'm probably never going to wear these clothes. They're probably going to sit here and for, another 5 years or so. And I'm going to get them out and be like, oh, I totally forgot I had that. So obviously it's not important. So stage 2 was to get rid of things stuffed in corners and stuffed underneath beds and stuffed in drawers that I don't use. So that was stage 2, was to, if it's in a hidey hole and it's not seasonal, if it's not a Christmas tree or something like that, decorations, I'm not using it. I don't need it. If it's stuffed underneath my bed, if it's under there, it has no use. I need to just part ways with it. So
Yeah.
that was the second stage.
Okay, wait. Yeah. So wait, let me stop you there though, because I think that's really cool. I think sometimes whenever we think, oh, I need to declutter my house or I want to try minimalism, then we're like, oh, that sounds like putting more stuff on my plate.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds overwhelming. But you're like, oh, I just started cleaning. And then I think everybody can just like grab a trash bag or whatever's hiding under their bed, just kind of toss it in. That seems very doable to me.
And do it immediately. Like, don't think about it. Don't for me, I don't hold on to things anyways, really. But I know if you sit there and you're looking at it and you're like, you bought it for a reason, whether or not it was cheap, because I love clearance stuff. I'm the clearance queen, probably why I had so much clothes. It's either cheap or it was cute at the time and your mood changed or whatever. It's gone. Just don't even think about it, because you might talk yourself out of it. If it was important and you were really using it, it would not be underneath the bed.
And maybe it already served its purpose, right?
Yeah.
You felt great, exactly. It had a purpose, but now obviously it doesn't. So you can let it go. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so I stopped you though. So what was stage 3 then?
Stage 3 was the clothes. I did get rid of the clothes that was stuffed in bags and stuffed underneath my bed. And those 99% of them were clothes that didn't fit me. So they're either clothes before all the steroids, or they're even clothes that I was holding on to before I'd lost any weight, just in case clothes. So I thought to myself, a lot of times we don't get rid of clothes because we think it's too expensive. I don't want to have to buy a whole new wardrobe. What if I gain weight? Well, if you're thinking you're going to gain weight, you're giving yourself that out. You're giving yourself that ability to gain weight a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So that's not an option for me anymore. I don't have any clothes to go to. So when I start to put on clothes that are too tight, then I probably need to, figure some things out. But I don't have any clothes to fall back on. And if you only have, I think I counted my clothes today. I have 50 clothing articles of clothing. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That don't count my scarves or anything, but just shirts, jackets, dresses, pants. I have 50. And that's not a lot of stuff. And then my rule is if I buy something, I need to get rid of something. So if I buy it, only buy it because I need it. And if I need it, then there's something else in my closet that I don't need. So I need to part ways with it.
I like that rule. And I just like how you were telling us about your thought process too, about, having that extra clothes just in case you gain weight. And then you're like, well, if that's an option, you're right. You're definitely going to move that direction. Yep. But what would you say to somebody about the smaller clothes then? Wouldn't you want to keep those so that you could fit back into them?
No. Especially moms. How many moms keep clothes that they wore before they were pregnant? Where bodies are not the same. And that's a beautiful thing. So instead of, being kind of depressed and being sad about it, you've grown up, whether or not, I don't care if you were 40 when you had your first child, your body changes, it matures, it, stuff is just sometimes not in the place where it used to be. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's, you love the way you look now. But if you hold on to the idea of smaller clothes, I feel like you're telling yourself that you're not good enough right now. I'm not quite good enough right now, but someday I'll be good enough. Someday I'll be good enough to fit back into those clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm try really hard, and it's something I struggle with too, to tell myself that I need to wear stuff that make me feel good enough right now.
Yeah.
Whether or not I want to lose weight or not, that will come. Like I said, like you said, like I've said, stress, it will come.
Yeah.
But holding on to clothes that are too small, to me, can be psychologically damaging.
Yeah.
For me, it was psychologically damaging. So
yeah, I think you're right, because you're probably holding on to them for reasons that aren't kind to yourself.
yep.
Like, maybe not everybody has the same reason or the same thought about it, but some people that I worked with in the past have said, like, oh, I should get back into those, or you're just like beating yourself up, like you're saying, then it is the not good enough. You're beating yourself up. I should be wearing those. I should get back into those, or whatever. And instead of just maybe letting it go, maybe you're creating space for
Exactly.
you're creating space for those clothes. If you get rid of them and you lose weight, now you got space to get some nice ones that make you feel
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
For sure.
Very good. Very good. Well, I just wanted to ask you also, because the more that we talked before, you just seemed like you were the de-stress queen. Like, you knew all the techniques, I felt like. So what are some of the other techniques that you use to just in your daily life to help you de-stress?
Putting boundaries on my life. There's a book series called like Boundaries of Marriage, Boundaries of like work and relationships. I don't know the author right off of the top of my head. But he basically just putting boundaries, being able to say no. I hate saying no. I really do, because I want to help everybody. I want to do as much as I can. I want to be superwoman, but I have to be able to say no. So putting boundaries on things that I know that are stressful for me.
Yeah.
Meditation, being in the now and not thinking about the future or the past as much as you can. It's impossible to never think about the future or the past. And obviously you have to plan for the future to some degree, but not creating stories in my head of possibilities of things that could happen, because usually those possibilities are negative.
Yeah.
A lot of we get in arguments all the time with our husbands in our heads that we don't, it just never exists. So if he puts his socks on the floor one more time, but guess what? He may never put his socks on the floor, so don't worry about it. Just living more in the now, thinking about what I'm doing at this moment. If I'm doing dishes, it's very meditative if you just think about the soap and the water and the feel of it, and the air around you and things like that. So just kind of practicing more Zen type mentality helped quite a bit.
Today I was thinking more of that for myself, of how am I going to stop working all the time? Because I feel like even whenever I'm not working, I don't know.
You're working about what you're working on later.
Yeah, I'm just like worried. There's a problem and I'm trying to solve it. And my mind's just like, I've got to solve that problem and can't leave until I do. And I was actually just thinking today, what is something that I can do to just like help me set that aside? So I actually like that. I think I'm going to use that this week. I'm going to try it more this week, about maybe just what it sounds like is, you said the air, you said looking at the bubbles, the feel. So it's just like getting yourself into the senses, really just tapping into the senses, the five senses of what's going on right now. I'm going to try it. I'll report back to you. Cool. Well, so we went over lots of good stuff today. So first of all, we just mentioned the Zen stuff, and then decluttering, and you can do that by cleaning. Cleaning's great too, right? Cleaning, getting rid of stuff that's stuffed around. Don't think about it too hard. Stage 3, forgot what you said, clothes. Used to
Yeah,
did the
clothes was
clothes.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And then, and then before that, you were just saying basically just having an optimistic mindset in general, that this is just not the end of the world, but we're going to still move on. It's like, we can be happy anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, great.
It's all good.
Yeah, these are all good tips. Well, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story. I hope it inspires other people to think that even with quarantine, they could lose 15 pounds like Ashley.
Yep.
And
try, just breathe.
just breathe. Just let it go.
Breathe.
That's the irony,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You just have to let it go. Yeah. So is there anything else you wanted to add before we end today?
I mean, just be good to yourself and be honest with yourself. Be honest about where you currently are in life. Never lie about your weight to yourself or other people, because you'll be sadly disappointed if you lose 5 pounds and you're not anywhere close to the weight you've been telling yourself you are in your brain. Just be nice to yourself. You are who you are in this moment. So it's best to just be happy with it and find ways to love yourself at every stage of your life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love that comment. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
What's one thing that's really been weighing you down? Are you ready to kick it to the side? Then join me for a stress less call today, where you'll learn the #1 mindset tool that I use to stop stressing and find relief right now. Go to icutthemustard.com/stressless to sign up for that call today.